There it is. The drum has sounded. It is time for the 734 from WCCO. I'm Jason DeRusha. What's happening? Nice to have you with us here on our daily digital newscast. Let's get you updated with the weather forecast right out the door. 7:30 forecast, we call it. It's going to be muggy by noon. What else is new, right? We've been in this kind of pattern for about a week. Isolated storm to the south by 4 p.m., Riley O'Connor tells us. But pretty much this is the same day we've seen for the past, how long has it been? We've just been stuck in this rut of the upper 80s, humid. At least should be dry throughout the Twin Cities today, so that's nice. If you have plans to maybe have dinner outside or fire up the grill, you won't have to worry about that later on this evening. Let's talk about this. Do you feel happier when you're out in the garden? I know a lot of you guys are gardeners. I like to garden as well. There's new research from the U of M finding that access to gardening could greatly improve a person's well-being. Study looked at, not a ton of people, but 370 people around the Twin Cities, had an app, and that app you could track and rank your emotions while you're doing different stuff, gardening activities. Key takeaway is that gardening at home is linked with high emotional well-being. It's because you feel superior to others. You're like, I have grown things from my own hands. We shall eat my labor. I don't know. I find it alternatingly peaceful and frustrating. Right? Maybe that's the fun. Maybe that's the fun of it. You feel like you want to persevere through the challenges that come at you. We were wondering what you think about this. Does gardening give you joy? What do you like to grow? Are you more of a flower raiser, or do you like to grow vegetables? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you have a good gardening tip, I'm hoping this is going to be my good year for tomatoes. Last year was trash, so this year is going to be my year. Let's give you some news updates. State health officials saying, all right, 4th of July celebrations. We saw people outdoors. We saw people congregating together. Will it cause a spike in COVID-19 cases? 3 to 4 weeks, we'll know. Mankato and Rochester both taking action on masks. This is the movement right now. It's all about mandatory mask laws. Those two cities mandating them for, public buildings, transportation, gyms, indoor dining. That goes into effect tomorrow for Rochester, Friday for Mankato. Edina will decide whether to extend its mask mandate tomorrow. Around the U.S., closing in on 3 million COVID-19 cases. New research indicates that so-called silent spreaders could be possible for half of the country's cases. This is what's made this so challenging, right? The initial idea that someone had to cough on you. That seems to be gone. Asymptomatic, pre-symptomatic cases are what they're talking about now. Scientists used existing research, and they found those are, in their view, a primary driver of the virus spreading. Positive test for the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, announced she has COVID-19. She said no serious symptoms, but her husband and at least one of their children also testing positive. Study abroad students may have to hit the road for classes this fall. They may have to go home. Government saying international students must take in-person classes or their visas will be denied. Students only taking online courses will not be allowed into the U.S. for school because of the pandemic. Lois Rees making her first court appearance in Minnesota today. Florida tried her first on murder for the case that happened down there, but it was up here that this whole crazy crime spree started. She'll be in Dodge County Court, or appearing in Dodge County Court, charged with killing her husband in 2018. Florida sent her here over the weekend. Rees is already spending the rest of her life in prison for murdering a woman there 2 years ago, but for sure, the trial for the murder of her husband, justice should be served if, in fact, she is guilty of that. About 650,000 companies took some money. The Paycheck Protection Program, Treasury publicly identified those companies. And it's interesting, right? You try not to have too much judgment about this because the idea of the PPP loan was to keep people working, to keep companies able to pay the salaries of employees. Small businesses, most of them were relatively small, but, some of this, like I said, interesting. Kanye West brand Yeezy got a loan. P.F. Chang's got a loan. There's some pushback of some big restaurant chains for taking money. P.F. Chang's paid some employees. Overall, the program doling out about $521 billion. Minnesota companies received more than $11 billion of that. I was looking at the list. Breck School got between $5 and $10 million bucks. Wisconsin companies just got under $10 billion. Famous Dave's got some money, Granite City. Today is Blackout Day. Is a social media movement you may see online today. The idea of this is to encourage black Americans to not spend any money unless it's at a black-owned business. The economic protest comes after weeks of demonstrations against police brutality in the United States. Just another way to show how important the black community is to the economy of the United States. Twin Cities losing another fine dining restaurant during the pandemic in Bloom in St. Paul, closing for good. The owners didn't blame COVID-19 specifically. They said in a statement, as the decline in fine dining continues in the restaurant industry as a whole, our vision for In Bloom has run its course. Its sister restaurant in the Keg and Case Market in St. Paul, Revival Smoked Meats, that stays open. The Revival restaurants stay open as well. The decline in fine dining was part of this, but Keg and Case Market on West 7th, I'm not sure that was a good fit for In Bloom either. TikTok ban? What? Interview with Fox News, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who, by the way, has a banging TikTok account. You ever go on to Mike Pompeo? He can do the savage like you wouldn't believe it. He says the U.S. is considering a ban on TikTok and other Chinese social media apps. TikTok issued a statement saying, hey, our CEO is an American. We've never provided user data to the Chinese government, but expect more on this argument to continue. I kind of am addicted to TikTok, so am I giving my data to the Chinese government? I hope not. I don't know. How about the Twins? We know who they're going to play for their shortened season. Here are a couple key dates. Opening day, July 24th. It's not that far away, right? Against the White Sox, we'll be in Chicago. Then the home opener, and sort of who cares, right? The home opener, July 28th. You and me, we're not going. Playing St. Louis Cardinals. All this will be on TV. The Cleveland series we've flagged as a notable one. That's going to be a big divisional rival. That's July 30th. Some fun National League matchups. You got the Milwaukee Brewers on August 18th. They'll be here. Twins go to Chicago and Wrigley Field September 18th through the 20th, and then they close out the season at Cincinnati. We've published the entire 60-game schedule at WCCO.com. How about Patrick Mahomes, right? 24-year-old just inked the biggest sports contract ever. He's a Super Bowl MVP. Kansas City Chiefs and their star quarterback. He's getting paid $503 million over 10 years. The way this story was broken was sort of amazing. A clerk at a Kansas City area liquor store tweeted that an executive from Kansas City came in and bought a bunch of, I'm not sure what the champagne was, but it was a super fancy champagne. And so she broke the story that Patrick Mahomes had a new big money contract. Let's get back to today's talker. We're talking gardening. I'm going to put my Rebecca Coles hat on. Welcome to Rebecca's Gardening. Don't ask me for any gardening tips, but I do enjoy it. Diana Peterson says, I get my gardening fix by going to my daughter's gorgeous garden. I get to enjoy it without the work. This is like classic grandma attitude, right? It's like you get your joy of parenting by dropping in and visiting the kids too. That's pretty good. Very nice. Becca says, yuck, no. Dirt and bugs and sweating? No thanks. Becca, just put on some gloves. It's fine. I do enjoy the fresh veggies and flowers that other people grow. I hear that. Here's Liz. I don't garden. What is happening today? No gardeners? Liz doesn't have a yard for you. Have some house plants. Makes me happy that I don't kill them. Man, Liz, I feel the same way with our house plants. It feels good. Diana says, I'd love to do more gardening. It does relax me, but unfortunately back issues make it difficult. That is true. I will say, Diana, I was over at a friend's house who had their garden in like old steel, like almost like bathtub type things. So it was so you didn't have to bend over to garden. I thought that was pretty cool. Like you could use a wine barrel, you could use all sorts of different things, but to raise it up, then you could still get the gardening joy without the back-breaking work for sure. That's it. Gardeners, where are you people? Let's hear from you. Throughout the day, you can keep commenting here on WCCO TV's Facebook page. I check them out every afternoon to see what you're saying about this. We appreciate you watching.